Yasu Malakedo. Welcome to the Malaka podcast. Denzel, Washington. Okay. What can I say about this man? He's one of my favorite actors of all time. He's got style and charisma up the ass. He's just a cool motherfucker. He's done so many cool roles in his life. And if you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen, I know we're facing tough times out there, but if you're at home just chilling out, I highly recommend that you go through pretty much all of Denzel Washington's movies because it just doesn't get any better than this. He's basically the Sidney Poitier of my generation. So, if you don't mind, I'd like to talk a little bit about this awesome dude, and with the help of Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, I will do so. Denzel Hayes Washington Jr., born December 28th, 1954, is an American actor, director, and producer. He has been described as an actor who reconfigured the concept of classic movie stardom, associating with characters defined by their grace, dignity, humanity, and inner strength. He has received 17 NAACP Image Awards, 3 Golden Globe Awards, 1 Tony Award, and 2 Academy Awards. Best Supporting Actor for playing Union Army soldier Private Tripp in the historical drama film Glory, and Best Actor for his role as a corrupt detective Alonzo Harris in the crime thriller Training Day. Washington has received much critical acclaim for his film work since the 1980s, including his portrayals of real-life figures such as South African anti-apartheid activist Steve Biko in Cry Freedom, Muslim minister and human rights activist Malcolm X in Malcolm X, boxer Reuben Hurricane Carter in The Hurricane, football coach Herman Boone in Remember the Titans, poet and educator Melvin B. Tolson in The Great Debaters, and drug kingpin Frank Lucas in American Gangster. He has been a featured actor in films produced by Jerry Bruckheimer and has been a frequent collaborator of directors Spike Lee, Antoine Fuqua, and Tony Scott. In 2016, he received a Cecil B. DeMille Lifetime Achievement Award at the 73rd Golden Globe Awards. In 2002, Washington made his directorial debut with the biographical film Antwone Fisher. His second directorial effort was The Great Debaters. His third film, Fences, in which he also starred, was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Picture. So as you can see, he's been a very busy man since the 1980s and doesn't really show any signs of slowing down. I mean, he's not doing as many films as he used to, but he doesn't have to. He's Denzel. He's proven himself. He's taken real life characters and basically made them his own. And if you're an actor who's studied acting for as long as he has, it's a huge honor to do that and a huge privilege. And he's done a great job. Like I said, he's one of my favorite actors. He always just has a very strong presence on screen. Even if it's not like the best movie, it's still, Denzel always is just the guy you draw to in every scene. He's just got that charisma. He just has it, a lot of confidence, a lot of stage presence, and, he's just awesome. He really is. And of course, there's much more to Denzel than meets the eye, and I'd like to share a couple facts I found online. It says here, Denzel Washington broke his pinky finger in a basketball accident when he was a kid. The finger was never set correctly, and to this day, it's still bent at the bottom knuckle. Now, look, maybe some things are just meant to be, okay? Maybe he didn't become that NBA All Star that maybe he wanted to one day, but once again, I'm pretty sure things worked out. Denzel Washington has starred in 4 remakes, the most recent of which is The Magnificent Seven, the other being The Manchurian Candidate, The Taking of Pelham 123, and Man on Fire. All pretty good movies, but we'll get to that in a little bit. For 2 years in a row, 2006 and 2007, Denzel Washington was voted America's favorite movie star in the Harris polls. Big surprise. Like I said, everybody loves Denzel. A woman in Washington's mother's beauty parlor, known as the Prophecies, saw him and wrote down a prophecy predicting that he would grow up and speak to millions. Oh, freaky. Denzel Washington is named after his father, who was named after the doctor who delivered him. His name, Dr. Denzel. Once again, can this man get any cooler? Denzel's father was a Pentecostal minister, and he belonged to a church of God in Christ's denomination for most of his life. Washington elected not to follow in his father's footsteps because going to church felt like a job. I mean, I can't be the first person to ever say this. Church can be pretty boring. And you know what? If you're not into something, you're not going to do it. So once again, things worked out. Who knows? Maybe, sometime in the future, he will play a priest and everything will even out. Denzel Washington still maintains his Christian faith, and his publicity stated that he reads his Bible every day. In a speech to Dillard's graduation class in 2015, he encouraged the students to put God first. See, he doesn't forget where he comes from, and he passes on the message. While visiting Atlanta to promote his movie Fences, Denzel Washington took a moment to visit his childhood librarian, Miss Connie, in her assisted living facility to wish her a happy 99th birthday. They hadn't seen each other in nearly 50 years, but she said she never forgot him. I'm sure she didn't. A Newsweek article from the 90s about the biological basis for the perception of beauty used Denzel Washington as their primary example as perfection for beauty. Like I said, who doesn't love Denzel? He's got that $1 million smile. What more do you want? It's just there, man. Let me continue. Denzel Washington was named People's Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive in 1996. He remains the only black person to win the distinction to date. Now, this is one thing that always confused me. If you're the sexiest man alive, how do you lose it the next year? That's one thing I never understood, but we'll talk about that another time. But again, yes, okay? Ladies love Denzel. When he was 14 years old, Washington was sent to Oakland Military Academy in New Windsor, New York. He said that the decision to send him there changed his life because he wouldn't have survived on the path he was going down. So, got in a little trouble when you're a kid, who hasn't? But you know what? A lot of times people go into the army and it'll set you straight. So, good for him. Denzel Washington met his wife, Pauletta, while filming the TV movie Wilma. They got married 5 years later and have been married for 34 years. That's pretty cool. Actually, on a side note, I used to enter contests on tribute.ca. I ended up winning a contest where I had the chance to see her live, and I couldn't because I worked. And I didn't even. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't sure, if there was a relation. And then I remember I offered it to my mom, and my mom couldn't make it because it's my mom, and she doesn't go out. And but she told me later on that's Denzel Washington's wife. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. I never knew that until then. When he was 6 years old, Denzel Washington joined the Boys and Girls Club of America. He credits the club with teaching him lessons that led him to where he is today, and has been their national spokesperson since 1993. Now, for those of you who don't know, Boys and Girls Club, it's just a club, that helps out, as far as I know, just like, for charities, and, it's got a lot of star power behind it, and, they just help spread the message, just stay positive and, you know, just be a good person. And again, Denzel Washington's a good dude, so I'm not surprised he still does this. When he was a member of the Boys and Girls Club of America, Washington was awarded the title of Police Chief for a day. The photo was shown during his 1988 appearance on Live with Regis and Kelly. Now, he didn't do any crooked shit like in Training Day. I'm sure he took it very seriously. And why just for a day? Why don't you give it to him for like a week or something? I mean, come on, give him I mean, Shaq became a cop, Seagal became a cop. I mean, just, let him enjoy it for a while. Come on, like what's a day? Come on. Training Day. Anyways, when Denzel Washington was 7 or 8 years old, he appeared in a talent show with the Boys and Girls Club of America. So there you go. He probably always remembered it, and, there you go. Washington considered a number of different career paths at university before taking up acting. At various points, he considered medicine, law, politics, and even journalism. Now, can you imagine Denzel Washington as a lawyer? I mean, think about it. The guy comes across as very intimidating, very confident. I mean, he probably would have kicked ass at it too. So, and even like a politician, And let's be honest. I think to this day he could still become a politician. Okay, that happens a lot. So why not? Better than Trump, that's for sure. While in university, Denzel Washington worked at an overnight camp as a creative arts director. He participated in a staff talent show at the camp where a colleague suggested he try acting. Well, whoever that colleague is, thank you. Denzel Washington received his BA in drama and journalism from Fordham University in 1977. Denzel Washington has 4 children, including a set of twins, but didn't let being famous stop him from taking care of them when they were younger. He would take them to all kinds of sports and school events, saying that family is life and entertainment is fantasy. There you go. Again, how cool is this guy? I mean, again, he knows how, important family is, and there you go. I mean, shit. Can Denzel do anything wrong? I'm still reading here, but I don't think so. Before hitting it big on the big screen, Denzel Washington was most famous for his role as Dr. Philip Chandler in the hit TV show Saint Elsewhere. We'll get to that in a little bit. I never watched it. When Denzel Washington offered Whitney Houston the role of his wife in the Penny Marshall comedy The Preacher's Wife, she initially turned him down. He continued to ask her for a year before she agreed. Very persistent. Who's going to say no to Denzel Washington? Come on. Denzel Washington was almost unrecognizable on the set of his upcoming role as lawyer Roman Israel. Fans spotted him wearing a fat suit, an afro, and black framed glasses. He gets lost in his role. We all know that. Denzel Washington was not the first actor considered for the role of Joe Miller. Director Jonathan Demme originally wanted to cast a comedian as the counterbalance for Hanks, but he wanted to work with Washington for years and decided to give him the role when he expressed interest. Now, obviously, that role is Philadelphia. We'll get to that in a little bit. Denzel is scared of heights and uses stuntmen for many of his films. However, in the film Unstoppable, when he is on top of a train and jumping from one car to another, it really is him. Well, I think it's pretty much the only thing me and Denzel have in common. Yeah, heights. Hey, man, I don't know what it is about heights. I mean, as I started growing up, I got more and more scared of heights. So yeah, for him to jump from one train to another, yeah. In 1976, Washington spent the summer in Maryland performing in their state play Wings of the Morning for Summer Stock Theater. The play was written for him and incorporated an African American character narrator loosely based on an early historical figure, Matthias da Souza. There you go. That's how much charisma this guy has. They wanted him for the role, they wrote something for him, boom, that's it. In order to prepare for his role as Malcolm X, Denzel Washington avoided eating pork, attended Fruit of Islam classes, and learned to Lindy Hop. He was so immersed in the character that he even knew which pair of glasses Malcolm X wore on a given day. Listen, we all know Denzel kicks ass at this point, right? We know he's going to do his research for a role. Enough said. As preparation for his role in the Pelican Brief, Denzel spent several months shadowing Washington Post reporters. Again, you get lost in the role, you want to do as good as you can. For a scene in the movie He Got Game, director Spike Lee encouraged the actors to play basketball for real. When the game began, Denzel Washington scored 4 straight points, receiving cheers and whoops from the sidelines. Co-star Ray Allen was furious and scored 10 points in a row, leading Lee to declare the game over and Allen the winner. We'll get into that in a little bit. The studio producing the film, Flights, had an extremely tight budget and couldn't afford a star like Denzel Washington. Washington, however, believed in the project, and he, along with director Robert Zemeckis, gave up 90% of their salaries to have it made. Well worth it. The movie Carbon Copy is about a white man who discovers that he has a black son. The movie is rarely shown on TV because of the politically incorrect racial humor. No shit. For his role in The Book of Eli, Washington studied martial arts under a Bruce Lee protege, and he performed all of his own stunts in the hand-to-hand fight scenes. Did anybody ever doubt that Denzel can't kick ass? I mean, come on. In 2008, Denzel Washington was part of a delegation of African American artists to visit Israel in honor of the state's 60th birthday. For the flogging scene in Glory, Denzel Washington reportedly received lashes at full contact. A special whip was used that wouldn't cut his back, but it did sting. In the final take, Washington shed a single tear, which Washington later said wasn't planned. For those of you who don't know, that scene is pretty iconic. I mean, you look at his face and you see the tear going by. I didn't even know that was a real tear until I just read this, so that's holy shit. Wow. Denzel Washington had 7 films represented on AFI's 100 Cheers, America's most inspiring movies list. Again, not surprised. He was also on the AFI's top 45 villains of the 20th century list for his role as rogue detective Alonzo Harris in Training Day. Again, we'll get to that in a little bit. Denzel Washington's first big screen film was the comedy Carbon Copy in 1981, but he's only done 3 comedies since. Now that's a good point. I've never really thought of, Denzel Washington is like a comedic actor, he usually does more of the dramatic action stuff, but I don't know, will we see him in a comedy one day, full, maybe team up with Jim Carrey, do some shit, I don't know, we'll see. Denzel Washington has been known to improvise or ad-lib lines. He at his screen test for Training Day, he reportedly angered co-star Ethan Hawke by improvising his lines. In fact, Washington's famous line, "King Kong ain't got shit on me," which is probably the whitest way that line has ever been said, so I do apologize, was not in the script. On ad-libbing, he says, "You have to grab moments when they happen." So one of the most iconic lines in movie history was ad-libbed, which often happens. In 1995, while Washington was filming Crimson Tide, Quentin Tarantino, who had unofficially done a rewrite of the script, visited the set. After viewing the rewrite, Washington reportedly publicly called him out for his constant use of racial slurs in the film. They later buried the hatchet, and Washington's daughter has since worked with Tarantino. I don't know what movie. Well, I didn't know Denzel Washington had a daughter. I know he's got a son. We'll talk about that in a bit. Okay. I wonder what movie. We shall see. Denzel Washington was late for the 1987 Oscars. By the time he arrived, the red carpet was over, and everybody was inside because the ceremony had already started. Now, again, people that know me know that there's an obvious joke here. I'm not going to say it, but again, Denzel Washington can do whatever the fuck he wants, okay? That's it. Denzel Washington made his directorial debut with the movie Antoine Fisher. He also starred in the movie, believing that it was the only way the movie would get financing. Now, there's a good story how he discovered the actor. I'll get into that in a little bit. Tom Hanks said that working with Denzel on Philadelphia was like going to film school. He said that he learned more about acting from Washington than he had from anyone else. And that's coming from Tom Hanks, man. So that's pretty cool. Denzel Washington is the only sixth actor to win both a Best Supporting Actor and Best Actor Oscar, joining Robert De Niro, Kevin Spacey, Jack Nicholson, Jack Lemmon, and Gene Hackman. The role that Washington most regrets turning down is Detective Davis Mills in Seven. He said that when he read the script, he couldn't see himself playing that role. But when he saw it, realized he made a mistake. The character ended up being played by Brad Pitt. Ah, I see. Okay. I never knew that. Okay. What's in the box? Come on now. What's in the box? In 2013, Denzel Washington won a Tony Award for his role in the play Fences, alongside co-star Viola Davis. Recently, he was nominated for an Oscar for his reprisal of the role, but lost to Casey Affleck. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I think he got ripped off there. I don't know. We'll talk about that in a bit. When Denzel Washington won his first Oscar for Best Supporting Actor in Glory, he was only the second black actor to win in the history of the award. The first was Sidney Poitier in 1963. Denzel Washington won the coveted Best Actor Oscar for his role in Training Day. Keep in mind, that was also the same year that Halle Berry won for Monsters Ball. And both great roles. With his nomination for Fences, Denzel Washington became the most nominated black actor with 7 Oscar nominations. So like I said, Denzel Washington kicks ass. We all know this. I mean, does he have really anything else to prove in his career? Honestly, I mean, he's done it all. He's done it all. And if you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to share all the movies he's done on IMDb. Now, I find this very interesting. What happened, the very first role he said he did was a movie called Wilma, like I mentioned before. That's where he met his wife. It was a TV movie. He played Robert Eldridge, and he was only 18 years old. Now, This is what I find interesting. The first role that I ever saw Denzel Washington in was in the movie Death Wish. Now, Death Wish came out in 1974. Now, I could have sworn I saw this on IMDb years ago. Maybe it was taken off. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I was seeing things that day. I don't know, who knows. But I was so certain of this. I had to look it up on YouTube. And, I put in Death Wish, Denzel. Enough said. First thing that pops up, it's the scene. He faces three guys in the alleyway there. The three guys are walking up towards him. You can clearly see it's Denzel Washington. I mean, you can see the face. You can see like kind of the grin smile. It's clearly Denzel. And this is, as far as I know, his first official movie. He didn't say anything. But yeah, this is his first official movie. And like I said, Wilma said he was only 18, so he must have been 15 in that role. He looks way older than that in that one, in the sense he just looks tall and whatever. But again, he just has that presence. You can just tell. So that's his first official role. Then it was Wilma. Then he did a TV movie called Flesh and Blood. Never heard of it. Then he did a video here called Coriolanus. I never heard of that one. Then he did a movie called Carbon Copy, which sort of sounds familiar. I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at the movie poster. On the movie poster, it shows him with a white guy. I lost my job, my house, my Rolls Royce. My family left me. What else can possibly go wrong? And then it shows Denzel Washington going, "Hi, Dad." Yeah, not the best rating, but when you start off doing movies, it is what it is. License to Kill TV movie, and then he did a Soldier Story. I got a pretty good rating, actually. I've never seen this movie. An African American officer investigates a murder in a racially charged situation in World War II. Not a bad rating, 7.2 out of 10. Yeah, I'll check it out one day. They did a movie called Power. Never heard of this one, unfortunately. That's him and Richard Gere, Gene Hackman. Not the best rating, but They did a TV movie called The George McKenna Story. Never heard of that one. Cry Freedom. It's got a good rating, actually. I never heard of this one. South African journalist Donald Woods is forced to flee the country after attempting to investigate a death in custody of his friend, the black activist, Steve Biko, what I mentioned before here. Okay. All right, that's cool. I never saw this one, but, again, look, during COVID, we got nothing else to do, guys. We got nothing but time. So you got a chance, check out these movies. Then he did a movie called For Queen and Country. I don't think he played the Queen. A retired British soldier struggles to adjust to everyday life with increasing difficulty. When you look at the movie poster, I always hate when they do shit like this. Like okay, you got Denzel on the cover, right? Okay, and then he's posing with a gun. Okay, like you can clearly tell they, put the gun in there with the hand, and I fucking always hated when they did that. I don't know. They did that with the same movie poster for Paid in Full with Mekhi Phifer there. I don't know. I don't know. I always think it's bullshit. But anyways, enough of my opinions on movie posters. Let's talk about that one day. Anyways, between 1982 and 1988, he was on St. Elsewhere, where he played Dr. Philip Chandler. Now, I never saw this show. He played a doctor. Because we all know, how doctors, never get women. He got a pretty high rating, 7.9 out of 10. That's not bad. Howie Mandel's in it. What? Okay. He's a fan of the Red Sox, I guess. Okay. The lives and work of a staff at St. Eldris Eligid whatever hospital, and an old and disrespected Boston teaching hospital. Okay, well that explains the Boston hat. Okay. Um, yeah, I don't know. If you want, check it out. Is it just me, or is that the guy from the old neighbor from Boy Meets World? Okay. The Mighty Quinn. Never heard of this one. He plays a cop. He's again. This is a weird. This is. I'm sorry. Like again, this is a weird movie poster. He's just like posing on a beach, and he's smiling, and there's a guy behind him that looks like he's holding a suitcase or something. This looks. I don't know. I'm assuming this is just a comedy. I don't know. I mean, like what does it say here on the poster? The chief of police and the chief suspect. They know each other too well to let a little thing like murder get in the way. I get. Look, guys. Again, a paycheck's a paycheck. It is what it is. Worst case scenario, the movie sucks, and you get a nice little paycheck. It is what it is. Don't worry about it. It's cool. Glory. Okay, here we go. So around this time, obviously, I mean, people know him from St. Elsewhere. Clearly a couple of roles here and there. Glory is a pretty good movie. I'm not gonna lie. Matthew Broderick's in it. You got Morgan Freeman in it, and yeah, it's a pretty powerful movie when you watch it. Like I said, it's got the famous scene where he's getting whipped, and basically the whole movie is about this guy named Robert Gould Shaw leads the U.S. Civil War's first all-black volunteer company, fighting prejudice from both his own Union Army and the Confederates. So, yeah, when you got a chance, check out this movie. It's pretty good. One story I heard, Dan Aykroyd was on Howard Stern, and that was the same year he got nominated for Best Supporting Actor with Denzel for Driving Miss Daisy. And he went there with his wife. He was all nervous, whatever. And like as soon as he heard that Denzel Washington was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, he's like, you know what, I'm good. I know he's gonna win. So there you go. Heart Condition. I never heard of this movie. A racist cop receives a heart transplant from a black lawyer he hates, who returns as a ghost to ask the cop to help take down men who murdered him. What? Come on, man. Like, really? Okay. Bob Hoskins, I love. Obviously, you know who Bob Hoskins is. From the classic movie Super Mario Brothers, and no, I'm just joking. Nobody liked that. And Who Framed Roger Rabbit, obviously. It didn't get the best rating. I don't know. Whatever. Mo Better Blues is a cool movie. I like this movie. Spike Lee movie. Jazz trumpeter Bleak Gilliam makes questionable decisions in his professional and romantic life. It's got some good moments in here. I want to know where they get these suits. But other than that, yeah, it's a pretty good movie. I liked it. Mississippi Masala. I never saw this one. Yeah, it looks all right. I mean, an Indian family is expelled from Uganda when Idi Amin takes power. They move to Mississippi, and time passes. The Indian daughter falls in love with a black man, and respective families have to come to terms with it. Okay, that's cool. I mean, look, I talked about the time I fell in love with an Indian woman. For some reason she wasn't allowed to drink water at the dinner table. I know That's in my online dating part 4 podcast. Check out those archives. They're awesome. But yeah, hey, it is what it is. You fall in love with certain people, and their parents don't like you, and you're like, I don't care, and you just go with it anyway. So, Ricochet, I think that's how you pronounce it. Never heard of this one. District attorney is terrorized by a criminal he put away years ago when he was a cop. Okay. Never seen this movie, but all I can say is this: John Lithgow. It looks like he plays a bad guy. I said it before, and I'll say it again. John Lithgow is a funny motherfucker, but I love when this guy plays a bad guy. So for that alone, I'm gonna check this one out one day. He didn't get the best rating, but I don't give a shit. He did a short video, Rabbit Ears Anansi. That's funny. I remember reading I wonder if this is the same. I remember Anansi being like this spider that can morph himself into like a human or something. It was a good little cool short story I remember growing up. So I'm just assuming it's got something to do with that. So cool. TV series, great performances. He was the narrator. You go in there, you do the narration, make some money, boom. Okay. Morgan Freeman made $1 million doing March of the Penguins. Enough said. Malcolm X, he played Malcolm X. Obviously, a very powerful role, very powerful figure in history. Did a great job. I mean, he looked just like Malcolm X. It was almost scary. Yeah, that ending, man, that was, oof. I mean, if you know the history of Malcolm X, you know what happened, but I mean, the way they did it at the end there was just really shit. It really is really powerful. So yeah, again, Spike Lee did it. Check it out. Much Ado About Nothing. Ado. Yeah, so William Shakespeare play. Yeah. I don't know a lot about William Shakespeare, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. I do like Othello. It's probably my favorite one. But, yeah, got a good rating. Check it out. The Pelican Brief. Okay. We got... I think the point of this movie was to see who had the better smile, Denzel or Julia Roberts. But, yeah, the movie's about a law student uncovers a conspiracy, putting herself and others in danger. I remember this was a very popular movie when it came out. Yeah, I remember it briefly. Pardon the pun. I swear to God I did not do that on purpose. Yeah, it was a decent little movie. I liked it. Check it out. Philadelphia. Okay, so very powerful movie. It's about a guy who has HIV and he's fired for it. So you gotta keep in mind, like during the 80s and 90s, this was a huge deal. Okay, HIV, everybody was scared. Having unprotected sex and then getting the virus, and this is actually based on a true story about a guy who got fired just because he had it. And Denzel is the guy who represents him in court. Very powerful movie. Really two solid performances. I remember one distinctive scene with Denzel when he's in like a drugstore or something, and some guy's like questioning him about the case or something, and like he gets really pissed off. And I thought that was really well done. But yeah, really good movie. Very very powerful shit. I think I mentioned this before about Tom Hanks there. I don't know, they rejected him for the Mario movie, and then he ended up doing this movie. So, again, some things are just meant to be. Rabbit Ears, John Henry. That's a video short he did. Crimson Tide. A movie we did with him and Gene Hackman involving two captains dueling it out on a submarine ship. Very good movie. I like this movie. I always like Gene Hackman. Definitely going to have to do a podcast about him one day. Two great performances. Definitely check it out. Virtuosity. This is a weird fucking movie, man. I remember watching this as a kid, and I don't know what to make of this movie. I mean, I guess it was meant to be like futuristic or something, but it was just fucking weird, man. I mean, I don't know, like, I never really heard of Russell Crowe before this. I think around this time or before he did the Western film there, Denzel, I guess they were trying to do, again, something trippy, I guess. I wasn't, it's not much of a plot. It's just a weird movie, but not in a good way. I don't know. Didn't get a good rating anyway. If you skip this one, I won't blame you. Devil in a Blue Dress. It's usually Devil in a Red Dress, but with Denzel in it, it's got to be a devil in a blue dress. An African American man is hired to find a woman and gets mixed up in a murderous political scandal. Good movie. I liked it. Got a decent rating, but I don't know. I thought Denzel was pretty good in this. Good little cast of characters as well. I liked it. I would check it out. Courage Under Fire. Okay. Same thing. Good movie. Nothing over the top, spectacular or whatever, but it was a good little movie. I liked it. It says here, a U.S. Army officer, despondent about a deadly mistake he made, investigates a female chopper commander's worthiness for the Medal of Honor. Yeah. Like I said, decent little movie, nothing, spectacular, but it's okay. The Preacher's Wife. I talked about this before. He convinced Whitney Houston to do it, to do the role there. A cute little movie, nothing, an angel comes to earth to help a preacher save his church and his family. Okay, so, all right, so, I don't know, every couple of years, Denzel likes to play a ghost, I guess, in a movie and, help out people, and, it was okay. Mother Goose, a Rappin' and a Rhymin' Special TV short. Played the voice of Humpty Dumpty and the Crooked Man. Okay. Happily Ever After, Fairy Tales for Every Children TV series. Once again, he played the same characters. King Omar, a couple episodes. And a movie came Fallen. This is a movie that does not get talked about enough from Denzel. I always loved this movie. It was a cool movie. It's a homicide detective, John Hobbs, witnesses an execution of a serial killer, Edgar Reese. Soon after, the execution of killings start again, and they are very similar to Reese's style. Now, I don't know if this is really a spoiler or whatever, but as far as I remember, like, the spirit of the guy that died, he just goes into other people's bodies and whatever, and he's trying to figure out, like, how to trap him and whatever. John Goodman's in it. They've done a couple movies together, him and Denzel. They always work out great together. Donald Sutherland's in it. This is a really good movie. I highly recommend this movie. Very good movie. Like I said, does not get talked about enough. Very good. He Got Game, another Spike Lee movie. At the time, Ray Allen literally, I think, just got drafted. He was part of the whole 96-97 draft with Kobe, rest in peace, Allen Iverson, Sharif Abdul-Rahim, Ray Allen, Steve Nash. I mean, the list goes on. Just check out who got drafted in those two drafts. It's fucking phenomenal. And he teamed up with Denzel here, and the whole point of this movie, a basketball player's father must try to convince him to go to a college so he can get a shorter sentence. Very powerful role, man. I mean, that one scene where, he's at the grave and he's very just, he just misses his wife a lot, and he starts hugging the tombstone. That's some powerful shit, man. Honestly, I thought he was great in this. Same thing with Ray Allen. I thought Ray Allen was really good in this too. Yeah, definitely worth checking out. Him and Spike Lee. They make good movies together. The Siege. I don't remember a lot about this movie. Oh yeah, him and Bruce Willis. Okay. Net betting. I don't know. I didn't get the best rating. I don't know. I can't really say much about this movie. I don't remember a lot about this movie. So, yeah. The Bone Collector. Good movie. I like this movie a lot. I believe this movie is Denzel Washington just staying in bed the whole movie, pretty much. Yeah. Can you imagine someone comes up to you and says, "You know what? You're a star actor. You know what to do. All you basically got to do is just lay in bed. We'll give you 20 million." I just assume at this point he was getting 20 million a film. Yeah, but it's a great movie. It's pretty good. Yeah, you know, I lay in bed. I don't get paid dick all. So, The Hurricane. Again, a very underrated movie. I should say underrated because people know about this movie, but I feel this is definitely one of his best performances he's done. It's based on the true story of Reuben Hurricane Carter, a boxer wrongfully imprisoned for murder, and the people who aid in his fight to prove his innocence. Now, what's cool about this is I'm from Toronto. From what I'm told, a lot of these people, like he came, I think he lived in Toronto for a bit, and then like the people from the area, like they helped him out, and they were just so interested in the story that they just wanted to prove his innocence. And yeah, I mean, guys, you gotta understand, like back in the day, like this is a whole different time. I mean, the racism was, I mean, guys, let's just be honest. I mean, the racism is pretty high today, but at the same time, this guy was clearly wrongfully accused, and it just shows all the shit he had to put up with, during his jail sentence, and just trying to prove his name, of him being innocent. And yeah, it's a really powerful movie, really good movie. So highly recommend that one. Remember the Titans? Excellent movie. Probably one of the best sports movies. Definitely one of the best sports football movies for sure. The true story of a newly appointed African American coach and his high school team on their first season as a racially integrated unit. So, you got a guy who's coaching all these different players, blacks, whites, all together at the time. Again, different time, guys. They didn't want this. There's even a scene in the movie where they just want to go to a fucking restaurant and just eat something, and they can't, and they're not letting people in there because they're black, and they're like, no, we all eat as a team, this bullshit, like he wasn't putting up with this shit, and he made it work, and it's a really, really good cast of people too. Excellent movie, excellent movie. Check it out. Training Day. What can I say? One of his best roles of all time. Although in an interview he said that he could play a role like this in his sleep. Mr. Washington, if you can play a role like this in your sleep, consider yourself blessed, okay? And I get what he means by that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not based on a real person, so he can have more fun with the role. He can kind of just, make things up as he goes along. But at the same time, this is a very powerful role, And you got to keep in mind, especially with what's going on today, and you hear all these stories about crooked cops, and cops are just not, being on the level. I mean, this is just, the test. And it pissed off a lot of people when this movie came out. I think they interviewed one police chief from LA, and he said he just found it very insulting. He couldn't watch it, and again, I think I might have talked about this during my police officer podcast. I mean, again, guys, it's just a movie. Okay, now spoiler alert. Okay. Obviously, he doesn't get away with it at the end, because if he did, then yeah, okay, it would be a pretty fucked up movie, And I think the whole point of this movie is that good triumphs over evil. So the whole point of this movie is that Ethan Hawke wants to make, detective, and Denzel Washington's character, just for one day, puts him through hell. And, there's a lot of side situations that weren't meant to happen. And, Denzel is just, pretty much a crooked asshole. I mean, he's you find out he's trying to work off a debt that he owes somebody for fucking up one night in Vegas. And yeah, I mean, this is a pretty powerful movie. I mean, he was great in this. It gives, again, one of the greatest speeches of all time. Even Terry Crews said, and like he barely actually not barely, he didn't have any speaking role in this. He was just there, whatever, as a security. They pulled him in to play, like one of the guys there, and like people are calling him and saying, "Dude, you're in a movie with Denzel. Like you're in the trailer. Like what the fuck, And like it's crazy, man. I mean, like for him to give that speech, and like I said before, a lot of it was just improv, and but that's how good Denzel is. He says he can do it in his sleep, but I mean, Jesus, like he's so good. Like, King Kong ain't got shit on me. I mean, that's some powerful shit, man. I mean, like he was so good in this. I watched this recently with my dad. I mean, like he never watched it for the first time. I'm like, Dad, you're a fan of Denzel. The fuck have you not seen this movie yet? Come on, And yeah, it was crazy. I mean, this is just an awesome performance. Ethan Hawke holds his own too as well. Excellent movie. Excellent movie. If you have not seen it, go see it now. John Q. This is a movie where, this is a guy who he needs a heart transplant for his son, and he's doing whatever it takes to get it done. So he basically holds everybody hostage at the hospital, and he's telling them, look, I need this to happen, And a lot of people gave shit about this movie because they felt it was like over the top, emotional, whatever. But I'm like, man, it was a good movie, man. Yeah, I mean, you got Robert Duvall in there. I mean, come on, man. Like, it's a good little movie. I personally liked it, so I thought it was cool. Check it out. Antoine Fisher. Okay, so imagine if you're an actor just starting to come up. You're trying to make it. You're working side jobs, whatever, at stores, and then all of a sudden you work, at this like flower shop or whatever, and then all of a sudden Denzel Washington walks in the store, and he says, I want to talk to you, and he offers you a role in his movie, in his first directorial debut movie. What do you say? Obviously, you say yes, unless you're extremely stupid. And that's exactly what happened to Derek Luke. Later on he ended up playing Sean Puffy Combs in the movie Notorious. He's done a lot of movies since, But I mean, the purpose of this movie was it's a character named Antoine Fisher, obviously. A young Navy man is forced to see a psychiatrist after a violent outburst against a fellow crewman. During the course of this treatment, a painful past is revealed and a new hope begins. So again, very good movie. I liked it. I just always love telling that story because, I mean, how often does that happen? Usually people call people and they call people and then they tell your agent and they tell you and then, but the guy, Denzel he's so cool. He just walks in the store and just tells them, look, basically I want you for this role. Like, that's it. It's that simple. Now, on a side note, Derek Luke was not the first person to actually get picked for this role. It was a person named DeAndre Barnes. Now, apparently he wanted him for the role first. Unfortunately, there's a whole story there with him. He got in a little bit of trouble there. From what I heard, it wasn't his fault, and from the story, it looks like it wasn't, but he got in some trouble there, and unfortunately, he couldn't do it. And and since then, I've seen him in a couple things, including the great show Snowfall, which if you ever have a chance, binge watch that one during the whole COVID. Basically, it's about the whole crack epidemic in the 80s, and it tells the story of the guy selling it and the cartel and the legal aspect of it. It's really good. So I just wanted to throw that in there because, like in life, sometimes you never know, things don't always go, the way they're supposed to. And, hopefully they end up working out in the end. The Manchurian Candidate. This version was okay. I mean, the original was way better. A lot of people said that as well. It was okay, me personally, I would stick with the original, but it's always hard to top the original. Let's just be honest. So that's just my opinion. Inside Man, very good movie. Again, Spike Lee working together. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. You got Clive Owen in there, Jodie Foster. It's basically about a cop trying to figure out how to get the bank robber out, which is played by Clive Owen. Very good back and forth, man. Very, very good movie. I haven't seen it in a while, but I just remembered it was a really good movie. So check it out. You know what? I wish I could say the same for this movie. Deja Vu. For some reason, it has a 7 out of 10. No disrespect to Denzel, Tony Scott, or nothing, but I was not feeling this movie. I'm sorry. I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I don't know. I just, I don't know. I don't know what to tell. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say or tell. I'm sorry. American Gangster. Wow. What a fucking awesome movie. Denzel Washington and Russell Crowe both kick ass in this movie. Movie's about an outcast New York City cop is charged with bringing down Harlem drug lord Frank Lucas, who real life inspired this partly biographical film. This is by far one of Denzel Washington's best movies. Same thing with Russell Crowe, one of his best movies as well. The whole comparison back and forth, with the crime and the police element there. I don't want to say a lot about this movie because I just don't want to give it away. If no one's ever, if you've never seen this movie, watch this movie. This is a phenomenal movie. I mean, they put a lot into it. Just check it out. It's fucking awesome. One funny thing I found out is originally they wanted Benicio del Toro in the movie, and there's a thing in Hollywood called pay or play, where basically if you're an actor, you have to block off a chunk of your time for a movie, and if they don't use you for it, it doesn't matter. They still have to pay you for it. I think he got paid like $5 million basically just for blocking off his time. He did work on the movie, but they never ended up using him in the movie. So there you go. Just a little side note. But again, this movie is excellent. Excellent. Just check it out. Watch that. Watch Training Day. Come on, guys, catch up. The Great Debaters. Good little movie. Denzel Washington directed it again, like I said before. Based on the true story of Melvin B. Tolson, a professor at Wiley College, Texas. In 1935, he inspired students to form a school's first debate team, which went on to challenging Harvard in a national championship. Now you think to yourself, okay, like how are they going to make a movie out of this, whatever, but it's just so well done just to see what the training involved, for, this, championship and all the, and all the stuff they had to do. It's a really good movie. I thought it was pretty cool, and that's what you do when you're, an actor trying to become a director. You try to pick a topic where, I can see why Denzel picked something like this. It's very simple. It doesn't cost a lot of money. It's not like an action flick. It doesn't, it's not special effects or nothing like that. It's just based on a good script. And, you get good people to perform it, and, it just works out. So got a good rating on IMDb. But yeah, it's a really good movie. Check it out. Denzel, of course, kills it like he always does. The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. Again, this is a perfect example. The original's way better. This movie, I don't know. Yeah, Travolta at this point, I already talked about John Travolta in a podcast there. At this point, it just wasn't there. I don't know. I wasn't really feeling it. Sorry. The Book of Eli. Me personally, I'll be honest with you. I love the Hughes brothers, but I don't know, this movie was okay. It had its moments. The problem with this movie is there's too many things where just nothing really happens, and it's okay. I don't know. Unstoppable. Again, it's okay. It's got its moments, but you know, it's okay. Safe House. Uh, Meh. Again, I don't know. Nothing special, I guess. I don't know. Uh, yeah. Flight. Good movie. Basically, this movie. Let's just be honest, guys. For the most part, I mean, John Goodman's good in this movie as well. But I mean, for the most part, it's all Denzel. I know Don Cheadle's in it; he's good too. But this is just a movie where, I mean, if they don't get Denzel, it's not going to be made. And like I said before, he gave up 90% of his salary, but he was excellent in it. The scene at the end there where he kind of, I don't want to give it away, whatever, but yeah, it's a really good performance. This example of a movie with Denzel where this is how strong of an actor he is, and he'll just basically carry the movie himself. Again, no disrespect to everyone else in there, but it's all Denzel in this one. Two Guns. I didn't like this movie at all. I'm not going to sugarcoat this one. This is an example of a movie where two star actors, it's an excuse for them to work together. They get a quick paycheck. Boom, that's it. I don't think there's anything memorable about this movie. I just, it's a movie. I guess you do between movies, make a quick buck. That's it. Equalizer. Okay, good movie. Very good movie. Spawned a sequel. I'll talk about that in a little bit. A man believes he has put in mysterious past behind him and has detected himself to beginning a new, quiet life before he meets a young girl under the control of ultraviolet Russian gangsters and can't stand idle by. Of course, idly. He's pissed. He can't stand by, okay? He's got to do something about it. You know why? Because he's the equalizer, okay? It's from the TV show, and they made this into a kick-ass movie. Personally, I would have liked to see a little bit more action at the end. That's just me. I like action in my action movies as much as I can get. But Denzel plays a really strong role in this. He's pretty focused in this, man. Like, he's got that, Denzel stare that, I think he's the closest human being that I think he can actually shoot laser beams out of his eyes if he wants to. But yeah, he's great in this. Yeah, definitely check this one out for sure. The Magnificent Seven, remake of the original, of course. Look, when you have a classic movie like The Magnificent Seven, you're not going to top it. There's no way. I don't care if you get Denzel, Chris Pratt, Ethan Hawke. It's just, it's not going to happen, man. Okay, Antoine Fuqua, they worked together before. A great movie. I like this movie. Don't get me wrong. The original is better. Obviously, you're not going to top the original, but this one is pretty good as well. I liked it. It had some good, funny points in it as well. I thought it was pretty good. I liked it. A lot of people didn't like it. I thought it was pretty good. So that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Fences, obviously from the play. Fences. Denzel Washington, third directorial thing here, and yeah, excellent. Again, it's a perfect example. Again, like I said before, Denzel tends to pick roles where it's nothing big action, whatever. It's just a good, solid script, and done by great actors. Viola Davis, Stephen McKinley Henderson. They're just great. Some movies are just, I mean, they have such a strong script and strong performances, that's all you need. Roman J. Israel Esquire. Again, this is an okay movie, okay? But again, it's one of those movies where it's all Denzel. That's all it is. It's basically not as good as Flight, obviously, but it's a, decent little movie, nothing special, but it was okay, Equalizer 2, not as good as the first one, obviously, but Yeah, still pretty good. There's one scene I remember specifically where he's like with the kid in the hallway there, and he's just like he's just hugging him, and it's just Denzel being Denzel. Like he's got that like power in his voice, and he's trying to just convince the kid like don't be I'm just paraphrasing here, but don't be bad, and just like you're better than this, and it's just like only like Denzel can. I mean, he's just so good in it. He's just such a fucking powerful actor, man. Holy shit. I mean, again, you can learn acting, but at the same time, some people just have it in them, and that's Denzel. And that's the last thing he's done, and that was in 2018. He's got a couple other projects coming up. He's going to do Macbeth, playing Lord Macbeth, obviously. And this I find interesting. He's doing a movie called The Little Things, and all it says is 2 cops track down a serial killer. And from what I see from the pictures here, it looks like it's Denzel teaming up with Rami Malek, who obviously played Freddie Mercury. And Jared Leto looks like, or I just assume he's going to be the psycho, because let's be honest, it's Jared Leto, and that's Jared Leto's thing. So yeah, it looks like the movie could have some potential there too. So, but like I said before, Denzel Washington has nothing else to prove in his career. I mean, the guy has done everything he can, and he's got awards. That doesn't mean shit. Who cares? I've always said that. I mean, you get an award, that's cool, but like I said, and I really do mean this. He really is the Sidney Poitier of my generation. Just a powerful black actor, and just with such a strong presence in everything he does. And he just kicks ass, man. I mean, me and my dad have always bonded over his movies, and just has very, I can't put enough emphasis on this. He just has a very strong presence. He carries himself really well in movies. I mean, if I ever met Denzel Washington, I'd be scared of him. I really, because he's just, he's got such a like powerful presence. I saw him on, TNT there, the basketball show, and he's just like Shaq's bugging him like, "Hey, you're gonna do the voice from Training Day," and and obviously you can't do it because it's like swearing up the ass, but he said, "All right, I'm putting cases on all you people," and like he's got a good sense of humor too, like he doesn't take himself too seriously too, he's very humble as well, and he's just a great guy, man. I mean, he just seems like a really cool dude, and I'm just curious to see what else he's got in the future. I mean, there was a rumor for a while that Antoine Fuqua they wanted to remake Scarface, and obviously they wanted Denzel Washington to play Scarface. I don't know how that was going to work. I mean, I heard this a few years ago. It doesn't look like it's going to happen now, but again, I mean, but they were considering it. I mean, that's how powerful Denzel Washington is. I mean, they were considering him to be like another or the next Scarface. So, and it gives you an idea of like how cool this guy really is. So, even his name, Denzel Washington. I mean, that's a cool fucking name. It's either that or you're a superhero. Maybe he will play a superhero one day, or maybe a mentor to a superhero. I don't know. Who knows? Like, the sky's the limit with Denzel Washington. I mean, he can do whatever he wants. Blue Magic, that's a brand name. Like Pepsi, that's a brand name. Denzel Washington is a brand name. He can do whatever he wants, okay? That's it. It's that simple. So, my man. Anyways, Denzel Washington, I want to thank you for all the years of entertainment. You keep making them, we'll keep watching them. And I want to say, when you had Nelson Mandela over your house, thank you very much for letting Sylvester Stallone in. That's a great story he told on Leno. He just said he had Nelson Mandela over one day, 40, 50 people over, and for some reason Sylvester Stallone is just outside the gate, and he's just pacing up and down, just like trying to get in, and the guard's like, "Oh, should we let him in?" He's like, yeah, let him in, yeah, let Rocky in, yo, Adrian, yeah. So Denzel's got a great sense of humor, and he seems like just one of the coolest guys in movie history. So thank you very much for all the years of entertainment, and let's hope it never ends. So thank you very much, Mr. Denzel Washington.